see you. Today in this live stream, live video, I want to go through some SAT practice test. That's practice test number 1, and you can download it from College Board. You can go to College Board website to practice test, and you can. That's like a real SAT test. And I'm going to do the math part, the part with no calculator. So feel free to stop me and ask question. All right. Let me go to the first part. Yeah, you know, in the first part of SAT math part, the part with no calculator, they give you this kind of formulas, but I do recommend you memorize them. I mean, the special triangles, like if you forget them, these things will be given to you. So like you know that if you have practice for SAT, you know that you are going to need this, a special triangle rule. But it's much better to have practice a lot, and we already know how to use them. The volume formulas, for example. And today I'm not focusing on the strategies and techniques. I'm just focusing on covering the areas that you will see in SAT math and how to answer them quickly. Again, the part quickly is not really the focus for today. Today is like understand what topics you're going to see in SAT math. Start with question number 1. Which of the following is an equation of line L in XY plane above? All right. So this is, you see, this is a line. This is a line. And hello, Gan. Could you please mute your voice? And if you have question, you can unmute and turn on your camera so we can see you. Those who have cameras, please turn on your cameras. Thank you. So that's a line. And we know the equation of line is mx plus b. So which one is the answer? Can A be the answer? Obviously no, because that's like a vertical line. If x equals 1, let me get a screenshot so I can write on it. So x equals to 1, that is the equation of a vertical line. That means everything goes through 1. X is always 1. It's always 1. So you just get this line. So that's not the answer. Y equals to 1. That's a horizontal line. That means y is 1 and it will be 1 forever. So it's just y is 1. So that is the equation for y equals to 1. So it's just y is 1. So that is the equation for y equals to 1. That's x equals to 1. Y equals to x. Y equals to x, that's xy. That means if x is 0, y must be 0 because they're the same. If x is 1, y must be 1. So that will be like in the corner like here. You see that? So that is the line y equals to x. So that is not it. So the only answer left is D. But I can answer it much faster than that, because I don't really need to solve the equation. I can see that that's a line, has an intercept, so it's y equals to mx plus b. Which one looks like mx plus b? That is the answer, and I just answer it very fast. If there were more equations like that, so you can see it starts from 1, so that's the y-intercept, and y equals to. And then I need to figure out the slope. So I go 1 unit right, figure out the slope. So I go 1 unit right, 1 unit up. 1 unit right, 1 unit up. So that's changes in y over changes in x. So if 1 up over 1 right, so that's 1x plus 1. Check. So this question doesn't take much time. You can answer it really quickly. You can be like grade 6 or 7, or for British students like year 7, year 8, you can easily answer that one. I'm moving to question 2, if there is no question. If there is a question, raise your hand or ask me immediately. Moving on to question 2. The circle above with center O has a circumference of 36. What is the length of minor arc AC? So let's work out this problem. Again, this is I call it like easy question. It's not that hard, and you can answer it really fast if you know what these things are. First, start with circumference. What is the circumference of a circle? Circumference is like the surrounding, the perimeter of a circle. And if we call it C circumference, it's 2 pi r. Or if you want to think of diameter, it's just diameter times pi, because diameter is 2r. That's circumference. And this is radius. This is radius. That's called a central angle. When you have a central angle, then you create intercepted arc. That is called intercepted arc. Let's call it like this, AC. And it's minor arc, because if you go this way, then you have another arc. Usually we need another point to call it. Let's say D. Let's say D. Then you have ADC. That's the major arc. Minor arc, major arc. Well, we want the length of the major arc, the minor arc. And that's very easy, because this chunk is just 90 degree. So the arc is also 90 degree. The central angle and the arc have the same measure. So 90 is how much of the whole circle? I mean, I don't need to tell you. You already know that's 1/4. It looks like 1/4 immediately. So that's 1/4 of a circle. Therefore, the length of AC is 1/4 of circumference of a circle, 2 pi r. That's what we know. But we don't have radius to put there. We have circumference. So that's even much easier. So 1/4 of 36. 1/4 of 36, that's 9. Do you get it? So this question, you just, that's 1/4 of circumference, 36 over 4, 9. You just answer it quickly and move on. But I do recommend you be more comfortable with these things. So you need to understand it, because some questions can get trickier. Any questions? Ja, welcome. Please mute your microphone and turn on your camera so we can see you. And the microphone muted. If you have questions, feel free to ask. And okay, thank you. Guys, I'm going to question 3. Question 3. Please ask me question. Don't feel shy. This session is to explain everything. What are the solutions of the quadratic equation? For some of you, maybe you haven't learned this one yet. So when you have a quadratic equation, that means the degree of the equation is 2. Then we call it quadratic. A standard form is written like ax squared plus bx plus c. That's the standard form. Then you can write as factored form. So a comes out, then x minus m, and then x minus n. That's factored form. And you can write it as vertex form. So x minus h squared plus k. That's vertex form. Minus h squared plus k. That's vertex form. So it doesn't matter which form you have, as long as x is to the power of 2. You see, x times x is x squared. Then, and this a cannot be 0, that leading coefficient. If this becomes 0, then it's not quadratic anymore. So this is a quadratic. And quadratic, the graph of a quadratic is a u. Call it parabola. And this u can be like facing up or facing down. It's like a smiley face or sad face. If it's facing up, it goes down, down, down until it hits a minimum. Then it changes and goes up. If it's like facing like this way, it's going up, up, up until it hits a maximum. Then it goes down. And how do we know this quadratic has a minimum or maximum? Does anybody know? Most of you know. Most of you should know. Like Hart, can you tell me? Or Horn. Horn is a better person to answer. Horn, how do I know this one has a minimum or maximum? And it's 4. A is 4. A is 4. Born.
Yeah.
Do you remember? If A is positive, yeah? If A is more than 0, which case do we get? Minimum or maximum? Minimum, yeah? And if A is negative, A cannot be 0. If A is negative, you get a maximum. So in this case, I know that it's going to have a minimum because this 4 is positive. That's very good to know. And it's not, again, related to this question. I'm just explaining the whole thing for quadratic, like to back up. And sometimes when you have a quadratic, if this is x and y, and your quadratic like goes like this, then you will have two quadratic like goes like this. Then you will have two zeros, 0, 2 zeros, 2 zeros. Because at this point, the y value is 0. At this y value is 0. At this point, the y value is 0. But you can get like this situation that you will have two like double zeros. You will get 0 here, but it's the same point. It looks like one answer, but it's a double 0 because the same number repeats. Or you can get this situation that you never end up with a real 0. It never touches the x-axis. There is no 0. And that's, you will get like complex answer. Or like this way. So it's possible you get one double zeros or two distinct solutions or no real zeros. So here they want us to find the solutions, two solutions for this quadratic. That means for which values you get 0. That's why it's equal to 0. So far so good. I'm going to solve it now. How to get the zeros. If you can factor, the faster way is factor. You see, I can get 4 out. So let's get that 4 out. That's the greatest common factor. So x squared minus, if you get 4 out, that's 2x, and then negative 3. Do you agree with me? So 4 times x squared, 4x squared, 4 times negative 2, negative 8, 4 times negative 3, negative 12. Now, I ask myself, what are the factors of negative 3 that add up to negative 2? I need to think of two numbers like a and b. When I multiply them, I get negative 3, but when I add them, I get negative 2. It's very easy, I think. Any hint? Anyone want to help me? How about negative 3 times 1? Because negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. Negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. So once I have the factors, I can write it like x minus 3, that's one of them, and then x plus 1 equal to 0. And there is something called zero product property. So if this one times this one is 0, so I can say that x minus 3 is 0, and x plus 1 equals to 0. You don't really need to worry about that. So if s3 is 0 and x plus 1 equals to 0, you don't really need to worry about that. So if x minus 3 is 0, therefore x equals to 3, and therefore x equals to negative 1. These are the zeros. That means if this is a quadratic with a minimum and it starts from negative 12. How do I know it starts from negative 12? Because this is the starting value. Starts from negative 12 and it has a minimum. And it has 0 at negative 1 somewhere here. And it has a 0 at 3. So this graph looks something like this. I'm not sure exactly. And these are the zeros that I want. Negative 1 and positive 3. But most students answer this one. They answer negative 3 and positive 1. Why? Because they find the factors and they think these are the zeros. No. When you find these factors, you put it x minus 3 and x plus 1, but that doesn't make 0. 3 makes it 0. 3 minus 3 is 0. Negative 1 plus 1 is 0. So don't make the common mistake. Good? I'm moving on to the next question. Question 4. Okay. Question 4. Okay. For word problems, usually students don't like word problems. Language barrier, if English is not your first language, or maybe you don't understand it. So I recommend a technique like conceptualize. Draw a sketch of it. It can help you. Which of the following is an example of a function whose graph in the xy plane has no x-intercept? Okay. Again, I'm going to draw it. This is xy. And I don't want my graph to touch x-axis. That's what it means. No x-intercept. Don't touch x-axis. Let's see. A linear function whose rate of change is not 0. So that's a linear function like mx plus b. And it says m is not 0. So it's 1 or 2. If it's not 0, because if it's 0, I can give y equals to 3. If it's y equals to 3, that can be y equals 3 has no x-intercept, but it says it's not 0. So it's going to be like this. It's going to be like that. So eventually I'm going to get x-intercept. So that is not the answer. A quadratic function with real zeros. Real zero, it's another word for x-intercept. So that's not the answer. So that's a that means like a u like this. And then you have real zeros. Or you have a u like that with real zeros. So that's not the answer. A quadratic function with no real zero. Okay. 0. Okay. That's probably the answer. Because if it doesn't have real zero, it doesn't have x-intercepts. So that means a quadratic like this. This one doesn't have real zeros. Okay. This one says at least, we don't really need to care about this one. We care about at least one real zero. So one real zero means one x-intercept. So 0, real 0 is another thing for x-intercept. Everyone good? So the answer is C. I'm moving to next question, question 6. Question 5. In the equation above, k is a constant. If x equals to 9, what is the value of k? You know, it sounds complicated, but it's not. Because just do what the question tells you. X is 9. Okay, this is 9. And then don't worry about this one. What minus 9 is 0? 9. So that means root of k plus 2, that must be 9. Okay, root of what number is 9? Root of 81 is 9. So what plus 2 is 81? 79. Plus 2 is 81. So the answer is 79. Clear? 81, 79. Plus 2 is 81. So the answer is 79. Clear? So the question might look complicated, but just try to make it easier for yourself. Don't try to, you're not going to show work on SAT or anything. You just need to think logically, reasonably, and answer it in the fastest way possible. But be careful. Remember, you must be quick and careful. Not careful, careful. Quick and careful. Because if you're careful but not quick, you won't be successful. If you're quick but not careful, then you will make mistakes. Be together. Question 6. Which of the following? This is really easy. It says the sum. Sum means like add. When we add the like terms. I cannot add squared with to the power of 1. They're not like terms. The only thing I can add is negative 1 and 1. So negative 1 plus 1 is 0. So what is left? A squared plus A. The answer is A. Don't multiply. Sum means add. So let me show you what this question is really easy. because you have a squared minus 1 and then plus a plus 1. Sum. So this one and this one are like terms. Like terms. We can add them. We can add them. So I can say like a squared plus a and then minus 1 plus add them. So I can say like a squared plus a and then minus 1 plus 1. So this one equals to 0. I don't need to write plus 0. So the answer is a squared plus a. Any questions? No? Very good. Moving on to part 7. Again, word problem. Don't be intimidated. Just break it down. Make it easier. Relate it to what you know. Like, this is a good hint to me because I need to write a system of linear inequalities. So when you have a system of linear inequalities, you have something plus something, at least something, or a maximum something. This is like if they tell you at least 220. This one is like, what is it? Not more than that. So that's at most. At most. This one is at least. If you know this one, it can help you. This one, whatever this one is, should be at least 20. Again, what is this one? This is at most. This is also at most, like maximum. Maximum 20, not more than 20. This one is at least, and this one is at most. This is at least, and this one is also at least. Now I'm going to read the question. Jackie has 2 summer jobs. All right. She works as a tutor, which pays 12 per hour. Just quickly go here. Which one is working as a tutor, X or Y? X is the number of hours she tutors. So X, if she works 1 hour as a tutor, she will give $12. Okay. And a lifeguard, so lifeguard is Y. So if she works as a lifeguard, she will get 9.5, and that's dollar plus dollar. So that should be equal to dollar. Don't confuse yourself. So because if you work 1 hour, 2 hour times $12, you get money. Money plus money. She can work no more than. What does no more than mean? No more than mean at most. Maximum 20 hour. So I look at 20 hour. This is at least not the answer. This is at least not the answer. So I'm good with 2 answers, 50-50. Okay. 2 hours. But she wants to earn at least 200, at least. So at least, this is at most, this is at most not the answer. So I have like 1 answer. I don't even need to write it because at least at most, done. I mean, that's how you can do it fast for SAT. But if you want to write it nicely, okay, I just say that at least, so this should be more than equal to $220. You see that? Dollar plus dollar equals to dollar. And then if she works tutoring as a tutor and she works as a lifeguard, these are the hours. So hour plus hour, this should be at most 20 hour, and this is hour. Don't say money plus money equal to hour. A lot of the students make that mistake. This should make sense what you're doing. But again, if you write these things before, then you can answer it without getting into trouble that much. So I'm going to move on to next part. All right. Another word problem. In air, there's another word problem. In air, the speed of sound s, it's very important to understand what the variable represents. So that's speed of sound. In meters per second is a linear function of air temperature. So that's T is the air temperature. In degrees Celsius is given by, so that's speed of sound depends on the temperature of the air. That's very nice to know. And I'm just going to explain what it means. If the temperature increases 1 degree of Celsius, the speed of sound will increase 0.6 meters per second. And if the temperature is 0, if there is no temperature, the speed of sound is 331.4 per second. That's what this means. You can also graph it for yourself. This is T, temperature, that's S, which depends on temperature. If temperatures means, you can also graph it for yourself. This is T, temperature, that's S, which depends on temperature. If temperature is 0, then the speed of sound is something 331.4. Then if the temperature increases just 1, this will go up 0.6. That means for every 10, this will go 6 up. So this will be somewhere like here, and it will be 337.4. And then it keeps going up like that. It's a very nice relationship. So it says, which of the following statement is the best interpretation, like what it means? Interpretation means what it means in the context. The number 331.4 in this context. So we know that that's the speed of sound when the temperature of air is 0. So look at the speed of sound in meter per second at 0 degrees. That's the best interpretation. Okay. Any question? Is everyone following? Good. Yeah, everyone's muted. So I'm going to move on to question 9. Question 9 is just right here. We have a system. One of them is like quadratic. The other one looks linear. That's a system equations. And x and y is like a point. That's the solution. And we don't know. This is like y equals to x squared, something like this. And this one is something like that. I'm not sure. Something like this, if you want to imagine. Then you will have two solutions, one here and one here. So this one, something like this, if you want to imagine. Then you will have two solutions, one here and one here. So this one has a x coordinate and y coordinate. So at this point x and y, both of the equations will be the same. At this x, both of them will have the same y. So, and there are two, but we want only one of them because x is more than 0. We want the positive answer. What is the value of x and y? X times y, the product. This is very important. You find x, y, and then you multiply them. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to substitute because y equals to x squared. So why not I change y with x squared? So I just put this one here. Then I said 2x squared plus 6 equals to, then I multiply this one, 2x plus 6. Then move everything to the left, 2x squared minus 2x, and that's 6 and 6, so they cancel each other. And then put it equal to 0 because we want to solve it. I can get 2 out and x also out. And what is left here is x minus 1 equals to 0. Now, 0 product property, so 2x equals to 0. Therefore, x equals 0. But we don't want this solution. We want the other one because x is more than 1. X minus 1 equals to 0. So x equals to 1. Two solutions. x0, x1. x0, x1. I want the positive one. The question tell me the one that is more than 0. So x is 1. How can I find y? Y is x squared. You just put 1 here. 1 squared, which is 1. Now you want the product. What is the product of x and y? So x is 1 times y is 1. The product is 1. Cool? So use the fastest method. To me, seems like substitution looks the fastest. I'm not going to substitute like this y with, because these two must be equal. The other way you think about it, you can just rearrange everything and write y equals to something and y equals to something and put them equal to each other. But whatever way is faster and more convenient to you. Okay. This is a nice question. Might need a lot of, you need to be like fast in arithmetics and adding, subtracting. We have, if a squared plus b squared equals to z and a times b equals to y, which of the following is equivalent to 4z plus 8y? Do it. The question asks you 4z plus 8y. So just do that. 4z, that's a squared plus b squared equals plus 8y. So just do that. ab. That's what the question wants me to do. And then if I say 4a squared and multiply that plus 4b squared equals to 8ab. Now you have to use your you have to be very good with quadratics. If you know like a square, if that's a square, this is a plus b and this is also a plus b, then you get perfect square, which is ab squared. And how do you know? This becomes a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. That looks to me, this looks like 2a squared plus 2a times, and this one, oh, sorry, I need to rearrange it. This one, oh, sorry, I need to rearrange it. I'm ahead of myself. Let me rearrange it so we are not confused. So 4a squared, 4b squared plus 8ab. So let's rearrange it. Write it this way. Plus 8ab plus 4b squared. Now it looks like this. This looks like 2a and then a squared. Plus, this one looks like 2b squared. And this looks like 2 times the first term, 2a, times the second term, 2b. So that's a perfect square. I can write it as 2a plus 2b and then squared. That's like a square like this. One side is 2a plus 2b, and this is also 2a plus 2b. So I'm going to choose B. You get it? Yeah, the last part is kind of tricky. And how can you do it? You need to be really, really good at your math, at quadratics. You have to practice a lot of perfect square. And you have to be able to see that, like this relationship. And the other trick was just use commutative property of addition. You're allowed to move this one here. Okay, any questions? Good, I don't see any hands raised, so that means no question. Moving to the next part, volume. I always love volume problems because they're so easy if you know what volume means. I will again start. First, what is volume? When you have like a 2D shape like this, and it has like surface, like the area, let's call it capital A. That's the area of this shape. And if you put the same shape on top of each other, this will go like higher. And then you will have a 3D shape, something like this. And then you have volume, you have a space inside this. So this volume is actually this area times how high it is, times h. It's basically the volume of prisms. So if I have a cylinder, same thing here with the height. All I need to do, what is the volume? Same principle. I need to know the area of the base. Cylinder, same thing here with the height. All I need to do, what is the volume? Same principle. I need to know the area of the base and times the height. But you can make it like area of a circle is pi r squared and the height of cylinder. That's one thing you know. Then the volume of right cylinder is 22. Okay. This volume is 22 cubic centimeter. What is the volume in a cubic centimeter of a right circular cylinder with twice the radius? So what we do is we increase the radius, we make it 2 times bigger, and then we twice the radius and half the height. Then we reduce the height here. So what will happen to this volume? You need to remember like dilation. It's very important in geometry. The lesson that we had about dilation. What do we know about dilation? When you have an image of a shape, this is the area of the image. That is a scale factor squared of the original. That's very important to know. The other thing we need to know is, look at this. If radius is 2 times bigger, because radius is going to be squared in this formula. So if radius is 2 and you make it 2 times bigger is 4, then you put 4 here. 4 squared is 16. You see that? So the effect is to the power of 2. The radius is going to be twice bigger. So the effect will be this 22, the volume will be times 2 squared, not just twice. In other words, it will be 4 times bigger. If you make the radius twice, 2 times bigger, the volume will be 4 times bigger. Now, but the height doesn't have that situation. If I multiply it by h, it's just 1 h. So if you make it half, so this will be half. So 4 over 2 is 2, so the volume will be 44. That's what the volume of this new shape, because the radius is going to be 2 times bigger, so radius, if it's 2 times bigger, 2 squared is 4, and height will be half. So all we need to do is 22 times 4 times half and get 44. Any questions? Nothing. Good. Question 12. I like question 12. Index laws, monomials, and this is quite easy if you know the rule. What are the rules that we know? If we have a number not 0 to the power of m, and we multiply it to the same base to the power of n, so we keep the base and we add the exponents. That's what we know. If we divide, so we subtract. We already know this. And we also have power of power. If this is a to the power of m and then raised to the power of n, then it becomes product of m and n. Then we also know if we have root, n root of a to the power of m, then you can write it as a raised by m over n. These are the things that we need to know. For me, when I see a number that is a power of another thing, my common sense tells me change it to the base. Like 9 is 3 squared. So just it's good to change it. Write it as the smallest base possible. So first thing I'm going to do is 3 squared instead of 9. And then this is something like a to the power of m. And then raise it to the power of 3 over 4. Now I apply this rule, power of power. So that's 2 times 3, 6 over 4. So you can always simplify. 2 and 4 cancel. So that's 3 over 2. Okay, that's good for me. Well, I don't have the answer here. So I need to think carefully. This is 3. I mean 2 over 2 plus 1 over 2. That is 3 over 2. But I know that when I add them, because it was multiplied, so I can go back. That is 3, 2 over 2 times 3, 1 over 2. 3 to the power of, this is 1. 3 to the power of 1 is just 3. And this one is fraction. What was the fraction here? So it's a root. In the denominator comes here, and the power, the numerator comes here. That's actually second root of 3. So that's the answer. You need to go backward. Yeah, in school, teachers, we teach you this way, but in SAT, you're asked to go backward, and that's needs practice. You need to be able to go backward. I see Hart is enjoying it. Yeah, it was a clever question, wasn't it? I like this question. It's quite clever. Any questions, guys? Nothing. All right. I'm gonna move to the next question, 13. Again, question 13, if you want to get into the wording, you will be confused. If you remember, this is a math exam, then you will not be confused, because we have a situation. This one says t, and this is n, so that means it starts from 2, and then 1, 1, because the slope is 1. If you understand this one, this question becomes piece of cake for you. It doesn't go back. At a restaurant, n cups of tea are made by adding tea bags to hot water. If t equals to n plus 2, how many additional tea bags are needed to make each additional cup of tea? You just need to look at the slope. What is the slope? 1. That's what it's asking. You add n plus 1. If you add 1 more, this will be 1 more. The same thing, if this one is 1 more, this will be 1 more too. This will go, don't be confused by 2, or just try to figure it out. If you understand what additional means, because that's the interpretation of a slope. For 1 extra n, what is the slope? The slope is 1. We'll have 1 more t. And the same way, for 1 more t, we need 1 more. Yeah. You can make a table. You can say how many additional tea bags are needed, so there's t, to make each additional cup of tea. Cup of tea, which one is t? N is t. So you can start with 1. If you put 1 here, 1 plus 2 is 3. Now you add 1 more. You want to put 2 here, yeah? 2 plus 2, 4. You see that? Plus 1, this will be plus 1. You can keep doing it. Now you add 1 more, 3 plus 1. So 3 plus 2 is 5, so that becomes plus 1. So you need 1. Basically, this is trying to ask you, do you understand the interpretation of a slope? Moving on. Okay. Question 14. That's inverse of exponential. So that's an exponential function. Let's graph it first, how it looks like. That's x. This is f of x. And I need a table. X, f of x. X is 0. 2 to the power of 0 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So that's 0. It starts from 2. Then I put 1 here. 2 to the power of 1 is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. So it's 1. This will be 3. And then it should go faster now. 2 to the power of 2, 4. 4 plus 1, 5. So that's 2 and then somewhere 5. This should keep going like this. Something I'm not sure exactly. But I know it goes from 2 and it goes curved like that. Okay, I got the graph. Now, it asks me, what is the negative f of x? That's what we learned in transformation. If you have f of x, but you multiply the whole thing by negative, this will be reflected across x-axis. If it's like this, you make it negative f of x, will be like that. So that's reflection across x-axis. So I'm going to go to -2. That's the first thing. And then everything will go back. So that will be negative something like this. It should be like reflection. Everything will be reflected across x-axis. You remember, if you have f of -x, then it will be reflected across y. If it's like this, then it will be reflected across y-axis. But if you multiply the whole function by x, it will be reflected across x-axis. So now I know, should start like -2 and then goes that way. Then I look which one, not this one. That doesn't look like my sketch. Yeah, that looks good. Not -1, it has to be -2. Okay, so the answer is C. That's a good one. That's the inverse of that. But if you multiply the whole function by x, it will be reflected across x-axis. So now I know, should start like -2 and then goes that way. Then I look which one, not this one. That doesn't look like my sketch. Yeah, that looks good. Not -1, it has to be -2. Okay, so the answer is C. That's a good one. That's the inverse of that. Any questions? Okay. Okay, this is also confusing, but if you use common sense, it's not, but then common sense will take a lot of time. But if you use it with math, you can answer faster. Alan drives an average of 100 miles each week. His car can travel an average of 20 miles per gallon of gasoline. Alan would like to reduce his weekly expenditure on gasoline by 5. So I think this is not the answer because I want 5. He wants to reduce 5. So it's either B or D. Assuming gasoline costs $4 per gallon, which equation can Alan use to determine how many fewer average miles M he should drive each week? So basically, he wants to reduce cost 5. He goes miles, yeah? And how much per mile? How much he has to pay per mile? We have information here. He says Alan drives an average of 100 miles. His car can travel an average of 20 miles per gallon, 25, and then it's 4. So it's either 25 and per gallon. So 1 gallon, 25 miles. 1 gallon, he pays, he can go 25 miles. And then 1 gallon costs $4. So 25 mile cost him $4. So if he goes, I think the answer is D, because if he goes like 100 miles and then 425, 100 divided by 25 is 4. 4 times 4, he ends up paying $16. So that will show us, if we solve for M, we know how many miles he should go that costs him $5. So that's, if you use it this way, you can answer. Otherwise, you have to think a lot. That's a good way to solve it. Think logically. I think it's almost 1 hour, and I promised everyone it's not going to be more than 1 hour. You have to think a lot. That's a good way to solve it. Think logically. I think it's almost 1 hour, and I promised everyone it's not going to be more than 1 hour. I'm going to stop it for today's session, and I promise I will add more sessions like that so everyone can come and join our live stream. Any questions, everyone? Now unmute and come back and talk. Which part was the most difficult? Let me ask Ming. Ming, you're the youngest, I think, or Wheat. But to start with Ming, how was it? How much did you get? Ming, are you there? Maybe Ming has left already. How much did you get? Ming, are you there? Maybe Ming has left already. Oh, Ming already left. Wait, are you there? Yeah, Wait, you're there already. Yeah, you just finished grade 6. How difficult was this for you?
A bit.
A bit difficult, yeah. A bit difficult, but this is what you're going to expect in high school, and if you want to actually take SAT. Guys, does anybody have any questions? Because I want to stop the live stream now. Nobody? Nobody? Gun? Let's start one by one. Gun? Hello, Gun. Are you there?
Hello.
Gun, there. Good. Gun, did you understand my English?
Yes, I understand.
Did I speak fast? Too fast?
But a bit.
Okay. Next time, stop me if you want me to repeat. I hope you enjoyed. Bye-bye, Gun. Ja, how was it? Nariat, Ja. Hello, Ja. Are you there? Maybe she. Okay. So you're going to take SAT soon. You know, you're in high schools. And we covered most of it together. Did you remember them?
Yes.
Okay, that's great. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Yes.
Olympic. Yeah, welcome. Olympic.
Yeah.
How was it?
Good.
Yeah, you're still in middle school, so I think most of it was new, but I hope you enjoyed it. Have a good day. Bye-bye. Okay. Tang, are you there?
I got it.
Yeah, you got. Did I answer correctly?
No, I don't know. I think so.
All right. Did you get something new from today's class?
The square root one was a bit tough for me.
You mean the perfect square?
Yes, yes.
Okay, that needs practice. That needs practice. Anyhow, see you later. Bye-bye, Tang.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye. Horn, you're the master now. You're the one who is taking SAT in 2 months. How was it?
I did it this
Oh,
test already. Yeah.
Okay. Now you understand how you can improve it?
Yeah, sir, but just like this last question, sir, like 25/4. Yeah. At first I thought it was B. So yeah.
Yeah. Is it B? I don't think it's B.
Yeah. Yes, it was D. Yeah.
Yeah, it must be D because we want to find the price. So like if you go 100 miles, divide by 20, then how much you pay for.
Yeah. At first I thought it was B. So yeah.
Yeah, is it B? I don't think it's B.
Yeah. Yes, it was D. Yeah.
Yeah, it must be D because we want to find the price. So like if you go 100 miles, divide by 20, then how much you pay for. Again, a bit of like, we need to know that this 5 is $5. Okay. I'll see you soon, and we will talk about it next week, Horn. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Bye. Horn and Hart. Hart, you're the last one left. How was it?
Yeah, I don't really understand like the problem solving and the graphing.
The grafting. So we need to do Algebra 2 together. So once we are done with geometry, I will bring you to Algebra 2, and then you will get them much better. It needs just more practice. Practice.
Half of it I already know, but like the the confusing one was like the problem solving and the graphing. That's it.
All right.
Like problem solving like number 15 and number 14 and graphing like that. I don't really understand like this one.
Okay. Let me know in the class that we have together next week, and just try to take more do more practice questions. Okay. Have a great day. I'm going to stop this live stream now. Bye everyone. Bye.
Bye, sir. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Sir. Thank
Bye.
you, sir.
You're welcome.